I have covered a lot. If you have gone through all the previous sections, congratulations. There are a few other things we'll still need to go over. Resume, CV is very important. Having a powerful resume stand out among the hundreds of thousands of resumes out there. For a particular position, there might be 100 or couple hundred applicants. Before even it goes to the hiring manager or the client, recruiting agencies, recruiters, they scan through the resumes. There is a thing called 6 second resume test. If your resume doesn't stand for 6 seconds, then your resume goes through trash or deleted from the inbox. So let's quickly go through a sample resume I have created. I'm going to go over and give you guys some tips. First of all, name. I like to have it on the left side. You can have it in the middle. That's fine. Have your first and last name here. I'm going to save it in case I lose it. And always name your resume with your name. So Hanif as QA resume. This is very important. Think about a recruiter or hiring manager. They have so many emails in their inbox. And if everyone's email is QA or dev, it'll be difficult for them to kind of sort out. So if you have your name, it will ring a bell. Okay, I talked to this individual, and it's easier that way. And it's also more professional. Here, add your email address, test123@gmail.com, some space here, then add your phone number and your location. That is New York, New York. At least give the city and state. If you have some kind of certification, you can place the logo here, somewhere here on the right side, but it should be small. It shouldn't be too large. Here, actually, I'm also certified Scrum Master, so I usually use CSM. So you can do that as well if you have some kind of certification. Then move on to the objective section. Here, I'm kind of just using 2 years as a sample here. But if you have more than that, that's fine. Just change it. And if you do not have any experience, you can show it as you are learning or you have taken a course and you have some experience, or at least you know the material about manual testing, different testing types, automation testing, backend testing using SQL, API testing, and so on. So here I kind of have a pretty simple statement. My purpose is to further my career in the IT industry in a position that best matches my abilities. I am a very detail-oriented software QA tester with about 2 years of experience in manual and automation testing. Excellent communication skills, result-oriented, committed, hardworking, analytical with a quest to learn new technologies, undertake challenging tasks, and flexibility to adapt to any new environment. I think it sounds pretty cool. So in summary section, 2 years of diversified experience in software quality assurance with expertise in automated API and manual testing. You have mobile testing experience. You can also add mobile here. And as you can see, I kind of highlighted some of the key points, so it's easier to read, right? For example, when someone is looking at your resume, if you highlight some of the key points, it kind of stands out and easy to read. Second point I have here is the experience in mobile device testing, including iPhone, iPad, Android, and Windows. Understanding of complete software development lifecycle SDLC, software development lifecycle STLC, and various software methodologies like Waterfall, Agile, Scrum, Kanban. Even though Scrum and Kanban falls under Agile, I kind of highlighted it. Extensive experience in reviewing and understanding business requirements and writing detailed test cases based on business requirements. If you have written test plans or if you have worked on test plans, you can also add it here. Experience in various testing methods like functional, system regression, smoke, browser. I'm going to say cross browser here. Positive, negative. I'm going to remove ad hoc here, sanity, and UAT testing. I'm going to add black box testing here as well. If you have done load testing or performance testing, add white box testing, and also you can add performance testing, load testing, and so on. Experience in developing automated scripts using Selenium WebDriver and Python. Experience in developing SQL queries for backend database validation. You have used a specific database, you can also name it here. Extensively used Jira, Zoho to write and execute test cases and used it as a defect bug tracking tool. Excellent communication skills with the ability to interact with other team members and management to successfully facilitate requirements. If you have any certifications, you can add them here, or if you are taking any training right now, you can also add them here. For example, I'm certified Scrum Master, AWS certified solution. I also have AWS certification, so just adding them here. So if you're taking any training right now, so I'm taking another certification, AWS professional engineer. So this one is in progress. So you can say something like this. So this is in the first page, so they will notice it, right? Then here we'll start with your projects. So if you don't have much experience, go by projects. Try to highlight some projects, to try to do some internship. I'll give some tips where you can get some part-time work or some sites where you can find some jobs, keyword related jobs, and you can show it in your resume. So here I have professional experience as a heading, then you can add the company name here, ABC firm, then add the city here, and then you can add the end date here of you currently working, just leave it as present. Just align all these. So align this one, and if you have multiple projects, make sure that they align properly. Then the job title, you can also give a brief description about the application you worked on. Then the project name. Here you can give a brief description about what you have done, participated in daily stand-ups, grooming meeting, sprint planning, demo, retro meeting, coordinate with the offshore team on work assignments, close interaction with business analysts, designers, and software developers to understand application functionality and navigational flow, performing system and sanity testing for the daily builds, performing regression testing and new functionality testing, resulting in finding out of the major bugs that crashed the system. So I need to rephrase it here, doesn't make sense, resulting in finding out major bugs that crashed the system, develop automated scripts using Selenium WebDriver and Python, writing test plan and test cases from use cases and technical specs, perform testing on iOS and Android devices, develop SQL queries for data validation, designing and executing test plans across multiple mobile operating system, web and desktop GUI applications, develop test cases for manual and automation testing. Sounds good. You can also give the environment or the tools you used in this project. Example, the language was Java, database was Oracle, HPQC or ALM was the bug tracking tool, and so on. So I have listed another project. This is mainly testing a lot of devices, so I kind of named all the devices. So it's good to add a lot of details here because recruiters, they search by keywords. So if there is a requirement, they're looking for Nexus 7, and then it's not in your resume. So most probably you're not gonna come to their radar. So it's good to add much detail here. My resume is about 5 pages, so it's okay to have 3-4 pages of resume. I know there's a debate there, you should not have a resume more than 2 pages, 3 pages, 4 pages, 5 pages. I mean, it's been working out for me for many years, so I would suggest you to add as much as needed. Then moving on to the last section here, add your education here, whatever degree you have, and if you're available for relocation and travel, add that. I used to add reference will be provided upon request. I don't put it anymore. If you want to, you can. I think another section we can add here is, like I said, the recruiters, they kind of search and then more of a keyword. So if your resume doesn't show up when they search on the job search engines, they're not gonna even find your resume. So you can add a section called technical skills, so you can list all the tools you have used. And I'm telling you, there are so many tools you can learn quickly and then kind of have it listed in your resume. So here I'm going to add automation tools first. So I have shown you guys WebDriver, then we have used Python, then we have used PyCharm, Renorex, Can also list Postman. It's used for API manual and automation API testing, so that will fall in the category as well. Then we can have another row where we can say programming or scripting. So we have used Python, at least we know some Python. So if you have used or if you're learning something, you can also list it here. Now I'm going to bold it here so it's easy to follow along. Park tracking tool, you have used something else also listed out here. Operating systems, mobile platforms. So here, Mac OS, Windows, Linux. For mobile platforms, Apple is iOS and Android is Android OS actually, and iOS, just to be specific. Then we can add something called testing environments or environment. So here the difference between programming scripting language is more of like what you know, what you have used. So this one is more of, because applications are written in different language, right? As a tester, we really don't need to know the programming language. Example, the application might be built in Java, necessarily not required for testers to know Java, or it could be built on Python or Node.js or C Sharp and so on. So list out the testing environment or programming languages the application was written. So you can say Java, Angular, Python, just to name few. And you can also add project management. We have used Jira, so you can use Jira. There's another tool called version 1. You can also download it and they should have a free trial. If you use the other tools, you can also mention it here as other tools, such as if you need to connect to a Linux machine, you have used PuTTY, you use the virtual machine or virtual PC, virtual box, you have used Android SDK, any type of emulator, and so on. I'm going to actually, I want to take this line out from here actually and paste it here. But I'm using Open Office, so it's kind of a free version of Word, but it doesn't have all the functionalities. However, I'm going to leave it alone here. So I think this is pretty decent. In this section here, if you want to actually have it in a table, you can also do it. Just insert a table here and then have the technical skills in one side and then all these listed in another side. That will also, I think, look good. Overall, I think this looks good. And here I'm going to actually change the size. Make sure to check your grammar. You should not have any typos. Of course, as a QA, we are supposed to be very detail oriented, right? So you should not have any silly mistakes. Proofread it, send it to your friend or family members or colleague. Let them revise it at least for any mistakes. And this resume is already 3 page. I think this is a decent number. I hope this will help you to build your own resume. Now that I have shown you how to create your resume, now where can you find jobs? There are many sites out there. I'm going to go over a few of them I've been using over the years, and they're really good site to find jobs, look at salary insights, and so on. The first one is dice.com. So dice.com. You can search for jobs without creating an account. So let's say if you were looking for QA jobs, right? QA analyst. And location. If you don't specify anything, it's probably going to search the entire USA. So I'm just going to leave it alone. And here you have multiple options, right? So just to quickly go over, all these sites are pretty much similar. You can actually filter. So if you're looking for remote only job, you can select on remote and it's going to show you all the remote jobs. 79 remote jobs here, right? And then any days, like when it was posted. So you can also select if we are looking for full-time, part-time contract, you can choose it. So let me open up this one. So ETL QA. So ETL is basically data warehouse. So this one is heavy SQL. So it was posted 18 hours ago. It's in Illinois. So just go through the description. So here it kind of gives you responsibilities or overview of the overall role, what they are looking for. So they are looking for somebody with the data validation experience, right? So someone is comfortable with SQL and so on. And if you go through the qualifications here, you get an idea if you're really a good fit for this position. So they're looking for someone with a bachelor degree, knows how to write complex SQL queries, and 4 years of QA experience, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back, search for junior Q analyst and see if there is anything junior. So here you can see the first one says junior Q engineer new grads. So click on this one and it's a contract. You can do contract or you can work on W2 6 to 12 months. So which is good for if you are just trying to get into IT field. So experience is 1 to 2 years, needed recent grads. So this one is kind of targeted to recent grads. So if I were in your position, if you just finished your degree and you're looking for something to do and you actually just took this course online, make up a resume just saying that okay, you are a recent grad and give it a shot. You never know, they might consider you. So I'm going to go back, I'm going to look at few more. So this one is junior QA tester. So this one is it's a very short time, 3 weeks, and it's going to pay up to $25 an hour, right? So let's see if they have any 7 years of experience in testing application. Yeah, so well, first of all, they need to pay more for 7 years of experience, $25 an hour. Okay, so this is not a good fit, right? So as you can see, you have to just go through all these and see which one you have a fit, and there are 342 jobs. So there are some jobs, I mean, it's not a huge number, but at least there are some jobs, you can get started. So I'm going to actually try something else. QA internship. So as you can see here, there are 14 internships. So this is in San Francisco, California, software engineer and test, quality assurance intern summer. So this was posted 3 days ago. So go through this and you can also try different way of searching. So QA engineer, that might give you like more results. So there's 1767 jobs, right? And if you do QA automation, so you get the idea here. So what you can do is you can actually register here, create an account here. Okay, just register. If you don't have an account, so just enter your basic information, then it's free to use. So I'm going to actually log into my account, then I want to show you how to upload your resume here. So when you log in, click on edit profile. So here you can actually have your LinkedIn profile here, or if you have a personal website, I mean, if it's going to make value for finding this job, add it here. Just don't add your personal Facebook link here, which is not going to help you. That's for friends and family, right? Let's say if you worked on a project or you're working on a project where you are contributing, then you can have that link here, and that is pretty good. So you can choose what kind of employment type you want, then desired position you can add. Salary, I'm not sure why this is like this. I guess it's by default. Definitely it's gonna be more than $6, right? So here you can choose if you're willing to relocate. If not, just toggle the button here. And you can also provide the city you are trying to locate. Willing to travel, you can also select what's the percentage of time, and here you can add the relevant experience you have and work authorization. If you have security clearance, toggle it on, and here you can upload your resume. So what are you going to do? You're basically going to click on upload and then just go through your documents, desktop or downloads, wherever you have your resume, just select it and choose, and then it will upload it here. After you upload it, this button here, it will be on. If not, you can click on it and just say yes, so it will turn on. So what this does is it lets the employer and the recruiters know that you are looking for a job. So I'm going to turn it off because I'm going to get so many calls and so on. I don't want it at this moment. So you have to select the reason when you turn it off. So that's a quick overview of Dice. Now I'm going to show you a few other sites. Another one I use is ziprecruiter.com. This is a newer site, and I mean, it's not new, but it's been around for some time, and I kind of like it. So I'm going to type QA, junior QA analyst, and city, I'm just going to say, I'm not going to say anything, so I want to search all over USA. And here you can see there's 80,000, well, if I can read correctly, 81,000 jobs. More than 81,000 jobs. So go through this. I mean, it is time consuming, it takes a lot of time. So finding a job is another full-time job, right? So this one says 50 to $55 hourly. I'm sure this one will need some kind of experience. Let's see. So remote job requirement, bachelor degree in computer science related field, minimum 4 years of experience. Okay, so you see 4 years of experience, you can make this much hourly. So it's a lot of money, right? So here you can actually filter by posted. I usually look at like within 30 days because I don't want to look at something older than that. So as you can see, there are the number of jobs changed from 81,000 to 32,000. So sometimes, these posting weren't removed, so you just don't want to apply for something, maybe they are not accepting application anymore. Then any distance, you can choose what kind of distance you're searching by, any city. And then salary range, you can filter employment type, you can filter contract or full-time, you're looking job title, search by companies, and so on. You can also create an account here and post your resume here as well, similar to DICE. So I'm not going to go over in detail, but it's pretty simple. Just click on sign in, and then since you don't have an account, just create a job seeker's profile, just follow the instruction, you should be good to go. Another site I want to quickly show you guys is LinkedIn. So we know that LinkedIn is for connecting with other professionals, but this is also a very good site, especially for full-time employment. And this is great because initially it might not add value to you, but when you have few connections, when you start connecting with other professionals, then it is going to make value. And one thing you really need to become good at is that try to connect with other professionals, especially related to IT in LinkedIn community, and join different groups. For QA, there are different groups. Automation, there are different groups. Try to join them, and they contribute so many things, and sometimes actually they even post jobs. And these groups should be free. But one thing though, when you send a request to somebody in LinkedIn, since you don't know them, tell them that, hey, I'm new and I'm trying to get into QA field. Would you mind connecting with me? And something personalized message, right? And it goes a long way. So I'm going to sign into my account. So you would go to linkedin.com, right? So you don't have an account, so you will just create an account and then log in. And then, so this is my LinkedIn profile. So now you know my full name, so you can connect with me now on LinkedIn. Send me a request and just send some kind of message saying, hey, I just took that YouTube course, I would like to connect. So here I'm going to go to my profile and kind of show you how can you add information. So here basically add your name and the title you're working or you want to be in, and then your company you're working, your education. So you can just click on edit here and you can update all this information. And don't worry about this. These are more of kind of done by LinkedIn. They kind of assess your profile and says, okay, how good it is. And you can also take certain skill sets you have. So I have recently taken a quiz about AWS, and it's going to show in your profile, so which is good. So also if you have any certifications, it's going to show up here, which is also great. And so add your companies here. So here by clicking this plus icon, you can add different companies you worked on. And here is your education, so you can add or edit. And then this section you can add your certifications you have. I had more actually. I recently deleted some of them, like introduction to cloud computing and so on, because now I have AWS certification, right? So those are very entry-level certifications. So for you, this might work. So there are so many courses in Udemy you can take, and then you kind of showcase here. At least is better than nothing until you get your industry standard certification like AWS or Scrum certification or Java certification. Here you can take certain quizzes and it's going to show up here. I'm going to expand this and add the skills you have. Good thing is that if you see 23, so actually 23 people endorsed me for it. So think about a company or a recruiter looking at my profile and they see that 23 people endorsed me on it. So they already knows that I have some experience in it, right? So list whatever you know here. Another thing I want to show you is accomplishments, right? So if you have taken any courses, these are just courses. These are not any certification or anything. So list them up here. So you see I have 26, and actually I recently stopped adding them. So especially for you, the things you are learning online, Udemy or any other resource, add them here. And of course, the languages. If you speak multiple languages or you're learning, then add them here. I mean, some of these languages, Spanish and Arabic, I'm learning now. So, but I have added them here anyway. And then interest, right? So this is another cool thing. You can actually follow certain groups or companies you like. So it will kind of, LinkedIn will notify you when there's an update and so on. And to network with people is pretty simple. We just click on network, and then yeah, it will show you different connections you might know. This is more of suggestions based on my network, so I might know some of these people or I might not know some of them, but if you know some of them, you can connect, and that's how you connect. So I'm going to actually sign out from LinkedIn, and you can actually, for your profile, when you have a profile, you can actually even modify this. As you can see, mine is customized, so you can do it. I'll let you figure it out. Just go to settings and you should be able to do it there. So I'm going to copy this, and you can add it on your resume. At the resume created, you can add it somewhere at the bottom. Let me show you a few other job search engines or sites. I'm going to go quickly because the idea is same, right? What I really wanted to show you is the job search features for LinkedIn, right? So here you can search junior QA analyst. I'm not going to enter any city, so search all over USA. And this is a very good tool. As you can see here, it was posted 6 days ago, and there are 8 applicants here. The company is pretty big. It's more than 10,000 people, and it kind of gives you overview of, here I'm going to search for junior QA, search all over USA. Even though we search for junior QA, some of them are, so these are promoted here. So there's the first junior QA, so that's 6-month contract. As you can see, it was posted 2 weeks ago. I really like this site because, or the job feature of LinkedIn, these are, it kind of gives you overall picture of the application. It was posted 2 weeks ago. There are 133 job applicants. The company is a growing company. It seems like it's a startup, 51 to 200 employees. Then you can read through their role or company profile, and here qualifications, 1 year of experience. So as you can see, even if you have some experience, you can apply for certain jobs. And here you go, API testing, right? And Jira and Charles and Postman. You don't have Charles, but at least you have Postman. Manual testing, automated test cases. So I can already see that some of you guys are studying. You can still apply for this job. At least tell them that, okay, I know the concepts. I need an opportunity, or I need a chance to kind of prove that, my skills. And here is another one. This is in Utah. So there are 11 applicants. It's a pretty big company, 10,000 plus employees, posted 1 day ago. And go through the description, and if you look at the requirements, let's see if I can find it. It says some experience in mobile testing apps, right? So it even didn't specify any time or duration. So something like this. And if you look at the salary here, 60,800, and that's just the base salary with the compensation. What I was telling you guys earlier about 49, 50,000, it's much more than that, right? So you can see there are very good jobs here. So go through this. I'm going to click on another one applicant only. It's in North Carolina, very close to my city where I live. So here it's an entry-level job. I even don't see any requirement, meaning time-wise, how long experience you need to have, understanding of business dynamics, journalism background. So if you look at this, if they're looking for somebody with journalism background, not even someone with a technical background. So go through this. Of course, not everybody is going to fit into this category, right? But I would suggest still apply for it, even if you don't have journalism background. Tell them that, okay, you know the QA methodologies, and try to sell yourself in a sense. Be honest and try to tell them that, okay, I need a job. I know the basics. I need an opportunity, right? So I'm not going to spend too much time here because I still want to show you guys a few other job sites. So I'm going to sign out here. Then I'm going to show you another site called Glassdoor, glassdoor.com. What I like about this site is that you can actually look into company reviews, right? And a lot of times other professionals, they also leave their salary information. So let's find a job. I'm trying not to log in actually. So again, here you can create an account, or if you don't have an account, you can just sign in with Google. So after you sign in, right, you can search, let's say QA, junior QA engineer. Not going to specify any location. Here you can also have your resume uploaded. So they only have one junior. This is not a junior position actually. So here I'm going to type QA engineer. So here I'm searching for QA engineer. Good thing about this is that of course it's similar to other job search engines, but here actually you can look at the company profile and ratings and so on. So it gives you overall description, even there are some images and so on. And then if you look at the ratings, it kind of shows you the approval of the CEO, and you can actually read comments of other employees who work there. So the company has a very good rating. 4.5 is really good. And then you can look at the salary. So then you can have some kind of idea like what kind of money you can expect from this company, right? And you can also look at the benefits, what kind of benefits they offer. So just wanted to give you an example. You can search create a profile here. I'm going to sign out. Then I want to show you another site called monster.com. So Monster is like the granddaddy of job search engines. They've been around for too long. So I'm going to say junior QA, and I'm not going to specify any location here. So look through, some of the listings are not relevant. So this one might be QA tech, this might be a good one. So go through this and create a profile again and upload your resume. So for all the sites you don't have to create a profile, you can individually just apply. But when you for searching, you don't need to sign in and create an account. But when you're trying to apply, you need to log in. You can choose to have the resume on the side. If not, you can just load it from your computer as well. But it's good to have your resume and profile created on the side, so that way recruiters and companies, they can find you. Another site I want you to look at is Career Builder. So careerbuilder.com is another good site. I really like this site because some of the job sites, they have so much unrelevant listings. This one, I think they really filters well. So QA analyst, I'm going to say I'll go with QA specialist. Search, and you can look at the different listings here. This one is paying $20 to $30 an hour. So go through, and again, you can sign up, create an account, and go from there. Another site I want you to look at is Indeed.com. I rarely use the site. They have the most listings, I believe, are the statistics, but also I find a lot of these listings are not relevant. That's one of the reasons I do not use it in regular basis. So here you can, so every site, they have their own look and feel, right? They have different options. So kind of go over all of them, but have your resume on all of them. So that way you get more chance, right? So again, here you can sign up and create an account and go from there. That's pretty much it with the job search sites. I think these are very solid sites, and I'm sure there are plenty more, but these are the ones I use and happy job searching. So now it brings to our next topic. You have posted your resume on the job sites, or you're applying individually. Now recruiters or hiring managers or somebody from a certain company is calling you. So what they usually do is they will send you some kind of email, and they will also call you at times and leave you a voicemail and trying to reach you, right? So in initial stage, recruiters or the agencies, they will try to set up some time with you, just quickly go over your profile, your resume, and then they will ask you some basic questions like, are you currently working? If you're working, when can you join in this new role? So a standard is like you can give 2 weeks notice and join within the new company. So that's a good answer. You can just tell them that, okay, I can join with 2 weeks notice. Then they will ask you some questions about your background, like working as a QA. So these usually are very generic questions, like how many years of experience you have, what do you know? Okay, this client is looking for these tools. Are you familiar with them? If you are, you tell them that, okay, yeah, I have worked with it. If not, that no, you are not familiar with that tool, but you worked with a similar tool. So many times the client, they will consider it. Because if you know a certain tool, to learn the new tool, it's not going to be a big deal. They knows that. So just don't say you don't know it. But if you know another tool, tell them that, okay, I don't know this tool, but I am familiar with another tool. Or if you don't know none of them, then you can just tell them that, okay, I don't know this particular tool, but I can learn. I'm a quick learner, something like this. So be very confident, whatever you say. Generally, the call is about 5-6 minutes. They will ask you a few questions. They will kind of go over the requirement, and then they will ask you, are you interested? So if you're interested, if you think that if it's a good fit for you. So they're going to ask you about your salary expectation. So if you do not have any target, the smartest thing is to do is kind of ask them you are open to a industry standard rate. So let's say if you have 2 years of experience, right, there is a standard, right, there is an hourly rate or salary. So you can go with that, and then if they still ask you like, okay, what is your rate or what are you expecting on a yearly salary base, then you can tell them that, okay, you can suggest me, I do not have any particular amount. So that way you are in a kind of better position. Let's say if you ask for $30 hourly, but the client is willing to pay $35. So you are losing $5 here, right? And let them give you the amount and then you can negotiate. If they say $25, then you can tell them that, okay, I'm kind of looking for more, So go from there. So for someone with few years of QA experience, as we saw in some of the job posting, they're paying about close to 70,000, right? So I believe these are rare cases though, but at least you should not make less than 60,000. Plus that's for full-time jobs, right? So do research on your market, because even it varies by the city and states in United States. So find some online tool, there's a pay scale, even Glassdoor, they kind of gives you a salary estimate on how much for a particular role is paying in the locality, and then try to negotiate with them. So negotiating is a very important skill, because you have to understand recruiters, they're also making money, right? I mean, they place you. If they don't place you, they don't make money. So many recruiters, they're actually pretty good. They want you to have a good salary. They kind of work for both, right? They're working for the job seeker and also for the company. So there are many good recruiters, actually recruiting companies. They will actually work with you. They're just not going to kind of put you down and try to give you lowball you and give you the lowest salary possible. But again, there are some companies I have seen, they, for a senior automation engineer, they're offering $30, $28. So they're taking a big cut. The rate for that position is probably close to $65 to $70. So they are not even close to what is the standard salary. Or so this kind of companies, they are not looking after the job seekers. There's another thing is like many companies, they have 2 3 middlemen, right? There's the client, then they have one company is trying to find job seekers, then they have subcontractors, or you can think like other agencies below them, 2 3. So everybody takes a cut. That's why it's like comes to $28 for a $70 job. But again, like I said, it also depends on the agency, right? So you have to, as you work, you learn it. As a beginner, it's difficult. You probably have to go with the flow and try to get a job. But as you work, you deal with these recruiting companies, you will find which one is good and which one is bad. So our next topic is how to prep for initial interview with the client. So this happens after you talk to the recruiter and you kind of agree on the salary part, and the recruiter will send you resume or CV to the client or hiring manager, right? So hiring manager might call you, have a quick conversation with you, then they will place it to the client's queue. So if clients like your resume, then they will try to set up a time to talk to you over the phone or perhaps virtually. Then your recruiter will reach out to you saying, hey, the client liked your resume, when is a good time for you? So usually you should able to do the phone interview or initial virtual interview, which is around 30 minutes, right? At least within few days, next day or few days. Don't delay it too long. You should do it within a day or few days. And so what is talked about in this initial interview? So most cases for me, it was a phone interview. So client from the team, they will have 1 or 2 individuals and they will ask you basic questions for that role. It's similar to what you talk to a recruiter, but it'll be a little bit more in depth. Like they will ask you, okay, share your experience and you should not have any salary conversation with the client. That should be done with the recruiters. So with the client, they will go over your resume. They try to ask you, okay, so you have done automation testing. What did you do? Can you give us some example? So it's more of a bit of technical interview, right? And they will go over your experience, database testing, or anything you have on your resume. So usually the client gives like some overview of the project you'll be working on. First few minutes they will kind of introduce themselves, and they will ask you, okay, why don't you tell us something about you, or what you've been working on. So that's where you start, and they will ask you follow-up questions. So end of the interview, they will ask you, do you have any questions? There you should have some questions for them. For example, you can ask them, what is the day-to-day responsibilities for this role? Or what do you expect for this position to be within 6 months or 1 year? Like, what is the goal for this role? Like, what do you want to accomplish? This person you're hiring. You can also ask what kind of databases they're using, or what kind of methodology they're using, or any question you have except the money part, right? You can also ask any specific question about the company if you're interested, and you should also actually do some research about the company before you start the interview, because companies, they want to see if you were interested, right? So if you do some research, that kind of shows them, no, you are actually interested. So I think these are the basic tips. Yeah, of course, you should be in a quiet place. Even though if you're taking a phone call, you should have some private space, or it shouldn't be too noisy. And if you have to join by some kind of video conference, of course, that's way different. That you have to kind of prepare for it, have the place nice and clean and so on, groom yourself well and so on. So at the end of the interview, after they ask you, do you have any question, then they will tell you, okay, we'll follow up with the recruiter. Or they might ask you, okay, when can you come in for a face-to-face interview? Or with the COVID-19 now, they'll probably ask you, okay, when can we do the second round of interview and so on. They might tell the recruiter. So usually it takes about a day or two. I have seen clients taking longer than 1 week. So you just have to wait, but they're also assessing other candidates, right? So, and then you go from there. So if they like you and everything works out, then they will call you for a face-to-face or a final interview. So how to prepare for face-to-face or final interview with the client? So here idea is similar to the first call. You're probably familiar with some of the team members there. They're probably going to join, but here you might have multiple team members, right, from that team. So let's say QA manager might be there, then QA manager might have one or two QA engineers, and then you might have some other team members from a different team kind of join the call. I have seen 5-6 people in face-to-face interview. So another approach many companies take, they will actually have you interview like in a certain time block. Like for 30-40 minutes, you will talk to QA manager, maybe another QA, then you will talk to maybe a development manager or director of that particular department, kind of talk to you and see if you're a good fit. And then third round, you might talk to some other team members and so on. So in face-to-face interview, it'll be same as the phone interview, but they will go more in depth, meaning that time is longer, right? Usually around 2 hours. So expect at least 2 hours. I mean, I have had interviews for 1 hour face-to-face interview. Then I had almost 2.5 hours, 3 hours. So the standard, I would say about 2 hours. So expect 2 hours to be in the interview, share your experience. Many times they will ask you questions from your resume itself. So whatever you have listed, they will ask you questions like, okay, so you have done positive testing, give us a scenario. You have done black box testing, give us a scenario, right? Anything they can ask, right? Automation testing, what did you do in automation testing? API testing, tell us about how did you do API testing? Then when you answer, they might ask you a follow-up question. So for technical roles, let's say if you're going as automation engineers, they might ask you more technical questions. Few times I had to actually go to the whiteboard and they will ask you certain questions. You kind of have to answer it or write it there and provide a solution. So it depends on the company. And so for most of you following this course, it'll be the entry-level QA position, right? So prepare well whatever you have in your resume. Most of the time in interview, they will ask you questions from your resume. And again, like the other interview with the client, so end of the interview, interview, they will ask you, do you have any questions? You should at least have two, three questions. Google, what do you want to ask them? There are, again, these questions could be based on the industry you're applying, but again, you can also ask a similar question like, what is the responsibilities for this role, right? I once asked in my interview, I asked them, what do you like about working in this company? And they answered it. They were actually kind of off at first. So you can ask questions like this. I know someone who also asked a question to the director, what is a good product to you? So actually he was asking question to the director of that department. So go ahead, prepare yourself with some questions. It's very important to ask some questions, right? And after that, they will tell you, okay, we'll get back to you, or probably, we'll let the recruiting agency know our thoughts and so on. So again, you have to wait few days or a week before you get the answer. So if everything goes well, you agree and they likes you, they'll send you an offer letter and you sign it, and they will do some kind of background check, reference check, and so on, and you go from there and start learning and making money. What is GitHub or Git? GitHub is known as version control management system or source code management. What all that means? So think of, there is a DevOps team in your company and there are 5 developers and they are working individually, right? They might be working in a same module or different module, but they have their own work. So now, end of the day, how are they going to put everything together? So if they're working on a login page and 2 developers are working, so they are basically working on different parts of the login page, right? So end of the day or after a few days, now they want to combine their code together so they can have everything that needed for the login page. If you want to do this manually, meaning like kind of sit down together and go over each line of the code and then try to combine together, think about how time consuming this would be. That's where version control and code management system comes in, source code management system comes in, right? So what is Git is great at is that when you're working on, you can push or store your code somewhere in the cloud. Think it like this, in a repository or repo. So your company might have a repo for development or QA or production, right? So in there, when a developer is done with their portion of the code, they will actually push it or store it somewhere in that repo. And then when the other developer is done with his portion of the work, he will also push. And Git is smart enough to kind of combine them together, and if Git sees any conflicts, it will let the developers know, or when they're trying to merge them together, it will kind of identify, okay, I see some conflict here, so fix it. So Git is also going to actually point out, okay, there are some similarities here, these are duplicate code. So you can also, then a third developer joins the team. He wants to kind of see where they stand. He doesn't want to start from the beginning, but these 2 developers already worked on some code, right? So he just wants to start from there. So he can actually copy those code from that repository and start from where he needs to start. So it's a very effective management system, source code management system. And there are, of course, other advanced topics for Git and GitHub. I'm not going to go there, such as branching, and so on. But think it GitHub as more of where developers are storing their code. It's not a correct word, but for your understanding, think it like this, and they can access it anytime they want. And it keeps all history of the code. So any changes being made, it kind of records it. So it's a very good tool. Without that, think about a developer or your computer can break down, right? And you're working on some code as an automation engineer. You've been working on something for 3-4 days, and then your computer dies and you're going to lose everything unless so GitHub is a very awesome tool. I think you should also look more into it. I'm going to actually walk you through. You should have a GitHub account. It's free. Go to github.com and then click on sign up, and then it's pretty simple. Just sign up using your email address. here is my GitHub repo. So this is also a good tool even if you are working on a project or open source project. It kind of shows your activities in GitHub. My public repository is here, so if you're working for a company, it is going to be private. It's just going to show private and it's not going to show the company. So all these, actually I have some sample test code here, and so these are publicly accessible, right? So another thing here is like it kind of shows people that you have used Git and you know how to use it. So if I go all the way back to 2015, right, think about how much activities in my account. So this is basically a daily basis. So on March 2nd, 2015, I had 2 commits, right? And if you see the dark green is like I made actually 8 commits on one day. So this is a very good tool, and it kind of shows over time, it kind of builds up your profile, right? And on my resume, actually, I have the link here. So you can actually, this link or your username, you can actually add it to your profile as well, like on your resume. So that's another cool, or this is another effective way to kind of showcase your skills. I'm going to sign out. Now I want to talk about CI/CD. I don't want to drill down too much on it, but I just want you to kind of have a basic understanding of it, because nowadays everything is moving towards CI and CD. So CI stands for continuous integration. So think of, like as I was saying, developers are working, right? And they eventually they need to push their code somewhere. So back then, years back, what they used to do, they actually, someone writes the code, then they had to push their code, and manually you had to kind of merge your code, and it requires time, right? And if there is a failure, you have to debug it and so on. So with CI, continuous integration, you can actually kind of automate your development process. So let's say your developers are pushing code to some repository in GitHub, right? So the codes are there, and then when they push new code, when you set up your continuous integration, I mean, there are different tools, build tools like Jenkins and so on, Bamboo, and there's so many others. So you kind of integrate your GitHub with Jenkins or Bamboo or CodeShip, any of these tools, and whenever it detects a new change, it will actually automatically kick out a build and test whatever needed to be tested. So there are no manual intervention needed. Of course, something fails, you will need to kind of look into why it failed. So that's the concept. It's kind of like automating your development process, like writing your code to go into Git and kind of building the packages. So now what is continuous delivery or CD? So CD is kind of more of delivering your changes. So continuous integration, you're kind of building the code into small chunk so it can be delivered to, let's say, your dev environment or QA environment or production environment, right? So you can think of continuous delivery as delivering changes of all types into a live environment anytime or all the time. You should be able to ship configuration changes, infrastructure changes, or anything. So another benefit of CD is to kind of have a smoother transition between deployments, right? So you have different environments like development, testing, some cases staging, and production, of course. And all these environments should be similar to production, at least staging, or some people they use a pre-prod. So they should be similar to production or mimic the production environment. So you need to push your changes to these environments, and CD is kind of does it for you. Otherwise, you have to manually push these changes to 3-4 environments. Another concept of continuous delivery is that frequent deployments, right? If you push large chunk of code after 2 weeks, and there are more possibility of breaking, and of course testing will be done, but that's a bigger chunk of code and debugging becomes difficult, versus if you just work on small chunk of code and that is being deployed, and let's say something breaks, and it's easy to just roll back and have less effect on the production environment. So to kind of wrap up, CI and CD kind of works together. Think of CI as kind of building the code from developer's machine to GitHub, and then kind of making some kind of artifacts or some kind of package of code. And then CD kind of comes in and then deploys it to different environments. So we are almost near end of this course. I quickly wanted to kind of give you an overview of cloud computing, specifically on AWS. What is AWS and what is cloud computing in general? So cloud computing is a computing system that is on demand. It is available on demand when you need it. So in traditionally, we had different servers, right? And companies, they had to build their own servers, data warehouse, and so on. And it was time consuming, it was expensive, and if they had to expand their server, if they needed more storage, they had to actually add physical devices. And when these servers weren't needed, they were just sitting there. So cloud computing kind of solves that problem. So it's more of, that's where AWS, which is a subsidiary of Google, that's where Amazon Web Services come in. AWS is a subsidiary of Amazon. It provides on-demand cloud computing platforms. So let me go to AWS. So the concept is that you don't need to have your own infrastructure. AWS will have it, they will manage it. You just deploy your applications. Yeah, you will have to provision your servers and kind of manage them, but the hard work is done by them. And other concept is that you pay on demand, meaning that whenever you are using, you pay for it. So when you are not using, you don't have to pay for it. And that is a big savings for these big corporations. There are other cloud providers such as Azure by Microsoft, also GCP by Google. So AWS, they have a 12-month free tier, so you can actually spin up some servers. They call it EC2s, Linux or Windows, and it is free for 12 months. Certain services, but for if you are trying to practice, it's free. I never had to pay any extra money. So if you go down, it kind of gives you overview of what services, what is the limitation. So go ahead and sign up and create a new account. You do have to provide your some kind of payment method here, but they are not going to charge you until you use these resources, or if you go over. So look into, even though if you don't create a account, at least go and look more into AWS or Azure or GCP, and generally look into what is cloud computing. The time we live in, we cannot avoid cloud computing, and this is the future is going to. So this is a very good skill to kind of have. Now I'm going to cover some resources where you can get some experience. If you do not have a internship, or you're kind of sitting around and you don't know where to start, so these resources, actually you can get some testing experience. Also you can make some money. You're not going to make huge amount of money here, but you'll make some money. I have worked on some of these projects before, or worked with these sites before. There are a whole bunch of them. The first one I wanted to show you is utest.com. So go to utest.com or just Google for utest. Here you can become a utest tester. So basically what utest does is they hires independent contractors for quality assurance or software testing, where you'll be testing different software and hardware and so on. They have some big clients like Google, Amazon, Netflix, and so on. So I have worked there before on some projects, and this is legit, and they will actually send you money to PayPal. I'm not sure if they have any new payment methods. It's been a while, years, I have done some projects there. So some of these projects, the money is not great. Maybe you might be making $2 or $5 for finding a bug, or at times I found one bug for $25. So again, it's not, you're not going to become rich with this, but at least you will gain some experience. One of the previous company I worked, there was a candidate for automation tester. He actually showed all his experience in automation testing, and he actually passed multiple interviews. At the end, he didn't get the job for different reasons, but his experience was within just testing in UTest, and he was a very qualified individual, right? He knew his testing best practices and had a lot of experience, because UTest is kind of broken into smaller projects. So within a month or 2 weeks, you'll be working on so many projects. So the way it works is that you need to sign up here, just join today, click here, and then after you fill up all the information, they will send you some kind of sandbox testing, where they will basically ask you, okay, here's the page, take some screenshots, very simple stuff, and then you submit it, and then you go from there. If you're just wondering how to take a screenshot, so you can actually download different plugins. So just search for screenshot plugins, then install those. Like I have one here, I can just take a screenshot and then you can save it anywhere you want. So it's pretty, and yeah, so check out this site, and you can also show this as your experience in QA testing if you don't have anything else going on. Another site I looked into before is Test.io. So this site, I did not spend too much time. They sent me some invitation, some kind of screening, and I kind of found it a bit difficult. Again, I had to spend so much time doing it. That's the reason I kind of did not proceed. But again, I was kind of checking it out, right, testing the water. So, but I heard this is a legit site. So check this out. I mean, there are many other sites like this. So go to Google and search for online testing gig or job, whatever you prefer. And then the first one is here. I'll just click on this link. So user testing, this one been around for some time too. So this blog kind of, see, user testing. So it kind of gives you like overview of the site itself and how much money you can make. And Respondent, I have used this one before too, but this is just not for testing. There are like they have different gigs there, and UTest is here, Test.io is here. So check out these sites or Google. There are so many sites out there, and this is a great way to kind of gain your testing experience. You are learning, and you can also make some money. I mean, you're not going to become rich, but if you can make $400-500 a month, I'm just giving an example. I mean, I know some people are making like $1,000-1,500 a month, but again, I'm not trying to promote these sites. I have no affiliation with this website so far. So kind of just trying to help you out. If you're trying to get into the QA field, or if you're looking for some side income, you can do this and then kind of convert this experience, show that, okay, yes, here is my experience. You can also show my YouTube channel as a learning resource, like, okay, I have taken this entire course which is that many hours, and this is was covered. Then, you know, last 4 5 months, 6 months I've been working with UTest or any of these, and list out all the projects you have done and break down whatever you have done. I'm sure you will get better opportunity with, you know, with this method versus just having a certification and without experience. Yeah, certification is good, but when you have some experience, that's even better. So that's pretty much it for this entire series. I hope this entire course is going to help you to kind of advance your career, or at least you will have better understanding of what is QA testing or software testing in general, or what is, or how the software development industry is kind of working, or IT industry in general is working. I have covered so many different topics. I don't expect you to kind of become master at all of those traits or, you know, areas. You can choose a specific area. For example, let's say you can choose automation testing and become very good at it. And very rare that people will have all these skills. Yeah, you need to know basics of everything, because in one of the project you might need to do some API testing, other one you might need to do some backend testing. So you can also focus on backend testing and kind of specialize and become very good at it and go to that route. API testing is very popular nowadays and it pays very well, and is less competition if you compare with backend and automation testing. And to my opinion, API testing is much easier. And even API automation is much simpler than UI automation. So you can also go to that route. You can specialize in the API testing. First, get to know the manual part, then you can learn API automation testing. The tool I showed you, Postman, also does that. So I have covered a lot in this series. There might be a possibility that I have misspoken something. If you see something is not correct, point it out. I would like to correct myself. I'm always learning. And if you find these videos or tutorials beneficial to you, please do not forget to subscribe. Subscribing and clicking on the bell icon helps with the YouTube algorithm for my channel, and it kind of encourages me to also create more videos like this. So don't forget to subscribe, and happy learning.